deaf. Civil liberties under arrest. Look around, not many left, but plenty of theft. Murder war, there's plenty of death. Digital currency, all the pennies are left. The new norm, military uniforms. It shows picking what's appropriate to perform. Come on, stand for something or fall for it all. Comfort is a killer, you won't give off for the call. So ballers ignore when the people rumble and brawl. They fear the cause, but they scared of losing it all. It's systemic, genocide.
So I am fired up, Phil, of Peace Life brand. Our motto is to help people live powerful and represent. So I got that name, Fired Up Phil. It actually comes from a Bible verse. So it's from Psalms. He makes his ministers as a flame of fire, right?
Right.
He is a person, obviously, who serves. And obviously you serve, right? Serving is so powerful. And I love fire, too, because fire is about power. And it's also about refining ourselves and everything, right? And I always like to just kind of let people know, where I got that name from, and especially being in hip hop and stuff. Like, remember back in the old school days, right? We call it tag names because people used to actually do graffiti and tag stuff.
Yeah, right? Remember that tag name?
Where did you get your name? How'd you come across calling yourself Precise? Do you have a story behind that, or?
It's not really as interesting as yours was.
Okay.
Because it was not like, I've heard people tell me reasons why they believe my name is Precise and why people call me Precise, and it probably sounds more. I was like, wow, I wish that was how it came about. But it really started when me and my cousin, we were, oh man, how old were we then? We had to be like maybe I was like 11 or something like that, or 12, something like that. And we were around that age, and we wanted to be cousins, like a tag team rap group,
Okay.
So he was gonna be Prodigy, and I was gonna be Precise.
Okay.
My cousin actually came up with the name Precise. So but Mobb Deep came out. We were trying to put our little rhymes together, but Mobb Deep came out. He was Havoc and Prodigy, so there that went. So he stopped going by the name Precise, and he stopped going by the name Prodigy, but I kept going. Precise kind of just caught on with me as a nickname, and so and like everybody around my way started calling me that and everything, so when I met God and I gave my heart to Christ, a lot of people don't know I was trying to ditch the name Precise.
Okay.
Because I felt like it was associated with, with a lot of things I was doing, that I was doing in the street, So I was like, you know what, I'm in the church. I don't want people calling me Precise. My name is Rob. So they're gonna call me Brother Rob in here,
Okay.
And but when I came in, a lot of the people in the church that I went into knew who I was. So they was just kind of excited that this guy that was out here in the street doing XYZ, that he's in the church right now. So they were like, oh, look, Precise is in here. I'm trying like, oh, no, it's Brother Rob. It's Brother Rob. No. Yeah. But like, yeah, okay, but look, it's Precise, So, so even when I had first started rhyming for God, which was a whole nother story, but like I just couldn't get out of hate. This is that they even throw it on the flies, even before I asked me, Precise is coming.
Like Christ, your reputation preceded you, right? Like people, they knew you as Precise because you had established, obviously a reputation of what you were doing, and obviously even with Christ, like his reputation preceded him everywhere he went. They knew who he was, right, before he got there.
Yeah, for good things though.
Your intentions, right, might have changed, but. Hey, the notoriety was still there, and then you used it obviously to glorify him, after.
Yeah. So like I'm just happy at the end result,
No doubt, absolutely. We came up with the Beast Life brand. That was a little bit of a story too. So like I was working on a business. I wanted to like my heart was just like being called to do something in ministry, and I was like, all right. So I want to do something like, what is it that, you want me to do, Lord? And so I was like, I want to start a brand, and I wanted, like, everything started kind of flowing together, wanting to help people live powerful and represent, rep the rock, we like to say. And I was like, all right, but so what am I going to call this? Right. So I was like, well, Christ lived the beast life, right? Like he's the original OG. He set the example. He set the tone of how we're supposed to do it. That's what the real beast life is about, right?
Definitely.
And so,
Definitely.
he's the king too, the lion, right? And that's what we kind of use the lion with beast life. He's the, obviously
Hmm.
the lion of the tribe of Judah. He's the king of kings. And so I was like, but like people associate the word beast with like the devil and stuff all the time, right? But I was like, I don't even, I personally, I don't know how you feel about this, but like throughout my whole life, I've always gotten along better sometimes with people who were not spiritual and whatnot. I kind of felt for them. I have empathy for them. And
Right.
I had more beef with people who were religious, spiritual people, right? And so I was in prayer
Right.
and I God just kind of like laughed at me when I was like, I don't really like religious people though. So he was like, so go ahead. Like basically you got it. Like you could use beast life. That's fine. And so I kind of was like, cool. It filters out the people that are religious that I really wasn't interested in, like, serving like that. And I've been called all kinds of things. I've been called, just because of that by some religious people that kind of,
Trust me, my brother, I can relate.
yeah, yeah. So it was, I felt really inspired and I felt like good about it. So that's how Beast Life brand was born. And then it was just about like having a brand that was able to represent, not be like totally corny and stuff, but rep Christ in a cool, non-judgmental in a way that can like get through to people, So
Right.
that's what we decided to roll out with.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I'm like, when we were in Atlanta, just recently, and I was talking, brother, I don't know if he still goes by the name fully, but remember BBJ?
Okay.
So
Not,
me and him were talking. Oh, you don't remember him?
no.
He was around like when me in the early years of me and Corey were ministering to
Okay.
when we first started running around. He had got inside the Jive Records and everything because I think he had a similar flow to Biggie, and I guess they were trying to market that or whatever at the time.
Okay.
Me and him we were having a good one. We didn't really speak much back then, but as of late, I've been really getting to talk and build with the brother. And he's really got a lot of, he's really a cool brother, really deep brother, really got a heart of gold. And we were talking, and he's like, you know what? He said, you know what I found out? He said, you'll never fully be who God has called you to be as long as some of us think we've shedded all of our religiosity, but the proof is in the pudding. When you feel in your gut to do something and you feel led by God to do it, but you still won't fully do it in the way He's calling you to do it because your fear of how it's going to be took. And he said, it's only when you shed that last bit of religiosity that whatever you're destined to be is going to really come shining forth.
Okay.
And I personally believe that wholeheartedly, because when me and Red first started, people would think that we didn't care about this, that, and that. And we actually did, not as much, but there was still that little slither of, okay, I'm worried about this, but I know where this has to be headed. I know what I'm feeling in my gut to go with this.
Okay.
And so now, it's like, me and the rest of the camp, we kind of like, it wasn't until we actually accepted, like, this is where we're going, this is who we are, you know what I mean? And I'm just going to embrace what God is saying. And if you can't get with it, it's cool, but I'm still going to do it nevertheless,
So basically what you're saying, if I'm hearing you right, like when you fully accept what God is calling you to do, when you get to that place in your life when you don't care about what other people are thinking and you don't care about, all these other aspects that are like kind of distracting you and taking you away, when you get to that point where you're submitted and you're like, okay, then you finally get to the point where now you can do what he really called you to do and you'll start to thrive in that.
I believe that, because I believe that apprehension you feel is based in fear.
course.
And I believe, and I believe it's a little bit of you that's a little bit is kind of scared of how people and to really accomplish, I believe, your destiny and your purpose. I believe you have to shred that last bit of fear, that last bit of apprehension, and just fully embrace who God has called you to be. Because I like there's like I just like you can be a shadow of what you're called to be, or you can be fully that person.
Yes.
Me, I'd rather be fully that guy, not appear. There's plenty of right now. There's plenty of people like this. I'll just pick on hip hop for a second, but it happens in a way bigger form. It happens in many different forms that are not hip hop. It's just like even I'm talking about ministry wise now. You got a lot of guys that you rock a fitted, you rock a hoodie, you got the latest kicks on your feet. You put your rhymes together and try to represent God, but because you can hear it sometimes, and I'm not picking on anyone specific, but you can hear it. Your fear fully just not worrying about how others would take it, or your fear because you fear your peers. You fear your peers, so you end up. And y'all know me, so I have no way of ever to say this to be straight up with it.
Yeah, do it.
Because of your fear of each other, we start wanting to prove to each other how dedicated we are to Christ and how valid of a walk we have with God. And then, so for me, like the focus shifts on, because you want to prove that you're about that Christ life. Our rhyme, even sometimes the music shifts, and we end up making music. And it sounds like we're talking to each other rather than someone who's not saved and needs to know who Jesus is.
Right.
So I remember one time
about your business instead of about your father's business.
Right. But it's basically fair because you want, and you might have not have made. And I'm not saying some have done that intentionally. I'm not saying that some have done that intentionally, but it just kind of went down like that. I remember one time, some guy came to me and Corey after an event. And he was like, well, he's like, because he heard when we happened to be, they asked us to rap and they asked us to preach the word that night as well, right? So, and I guess the brother heard us preaching and teaching, and like, I guess he didn't think that we had like that type of a handle on, on the word or whatever. Not trying to say we know everything, but I guess we had a little more handle than he thought. That we had. And he had came to us and he was like, wow, I didn't know you guys were so that deep. He was like, you guys are deep. And he says to me, well, how come in your music, you guys don't talk about all this stuff? You guys still talk about this, that, and the third in your music when you got all this other deep stuff. You guys and I told him, I said, because my core audience hasn't changed.
Right.
I'm still trying to talk to someone who needs to know who Christ is. If I give all that deep stuff, you'll be impressed.
Yeah, but
you'll be impressed by what I'm saying.
So
like if you want to sit down and get deep and break down the oracles of God, and you want to get into different covenants and different sacrifices, and I can do all that with you, but now I'm speaking gibberish to the people that need to know who God is.
So let's talk about that for a minute. So let's rewind time and let's let everybody know, because I want to weigh in on this too, because I also want to let you guys, you and Red, actually, I'm talking to obviously and interviewing you right now, but I came to know you guys when you were obviously doing your stuff together. We're going to talk about your album that's coming up, but let's rewind time for a second here. And so let's help people understand who Precise is. Like, how did you get started in hip hop? What was your youth like? You grew up in Staten Island, right? I was
born in Brooklyn. Yeah, born in Brooklyn. And then we moved to Staten Island.
Okay. And how did you get, I mean, obviously hip hop is a culture, so it was part of, but how did you get turned on to making music? Like, how did that all unfold for you? How did you end up meeting Red? Like, tell us about that story a little bit, if you don't mind.
All right. This is a story about, okay, well, me meeting hip hop was, hip hop born in 1973, like me. So I was born in the same year that hip hop was created. Now, but now what a lot of people don't know is I'm into so many different genres of music you wouldn't, but I mean, I listen to the country, I listen to alternative, I listen to
You're a
jazz.
fan of music. You like music.
Yeah,
You
I
appreciate
love music. I'm a real
yeah,
music
yeah,
lover.
yeah.
Like
I
like
got
I
you.
like music just kind of plays a part in my everything. I'm the happiest when I'm just kind of dancing around this house and singing and doing stuff, like that. That's
Okay.
like me at some of my most happiest moments. But I was kind of like born into hip hop. So now growing up, my uncles sing, almost everybody in my family sing, my mom was singing, my brothers are singing, my sister sings.
Okay.
Um, I was not so gifted in that area, but you can't tell me that when I'm playing my music though. But so I always had a love for music. But I remember my grandmother, before she had passed away, she bought me my first radio. Right.
Okay.
I mean, it was a mini boom box. It wasn't like the big boom boxes like the older
Yeah.
guys had, but it was impressive. It was impressive to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and then like my dad and they were real strict. They would send us to bed real early, and so I really doubted they wanted me to listen to hip hop. So and these days I'm talking about you couldn't just find hip hop everywhere like you find it
I
now.
know you had to get it
You
underground
had you
tapes.
and you had to get on the underground and on the radio. It would only play 2 days out of the week and within a certain time.
Yeah.
So you had to really be ready to tune in and have your tape deck
Yeah.
on standby to
I
hit
had a friend of
record.
mine that I grew up in. I was born in Queens, but I basically grew up upstate in Orange County, New York. That's where I still live now.
Okay.
It's about 45 minutes, an hour outside of the city. But I used to have people in the city that when they would come up, they would bring me all these tapes off the street. And I was like, that's how I got introduced to it because it wasn't on the radio, stuff like that. And then
Uh-huh.
I got, obviously started listening to it and became a fan of it. But I know what you're talking about, watching it evolve. So all of a sudden now it started to obviously come into your life. So you're listening to this hip hop music and stuff. So what drew you to hip hop? You said maybe couldn't sing as great, but you can flow. I'll tell you that. So
Yeah,
talk
thanks,
to me.
man. The first day, like when I was a kid in the fifth grade, and I just sneaked the radio into the bed with me in my bunk bed, right? And I would go to listen to Mr. Magic, Molly Ball, all these guys that was on the
Yeah.
radio on the weekend, and like when they would talk, it was the first time for me that I was hearing people talk I could always appreciate every other genre of music.
Yep.
But like when I heard hip hop, it was like, wow, this everything they're talking about is in my life. Everything they're talking about is my experience. Everything they're talking about resonates with me as just a young black kid in New York City. What they're talking about is everything I see around me. So it was that instant feeling of we belong together.
Yes.
Like it's hard to explain it unless you're into hip hop, like you
It's a
are.
culture. Yeah, it's a culture.
You just know that this is you're talking about my life and what you're saying resonates with me, and I just feel like we belong together. It was just love. It's like when
Yeah.
you meet someone, you fall in love. You're supposed to be together.
Yeah.
Like everything just is right. So it was kind of like that, and so it just I immediately, like most kids, I started playing around with my pen, and me and my cousin were
Mm.
trying to write rhymes together and everything. I don't know that I never at first I never told anybody that I could rap because I was very shy kid. I was very shy, so I would just keep it on a low that I was writing. Only my cousin, a few people know. I knew that one day I would have to break out of my shyness
Yeah.
if I was ever gonna really
Overcome that fear.
overcome that. So I remember it wasn't too. I was, in New York, we had a lot of lyricist lounge places and
Okay.
places, underground places you could go and get on an open mic and see what you got.
Yep.
So I had a friend. His name was Harrison, and he was bent on going to the city. He's like, listen, man, we should go to the city, get on the mic, and and blah blah blah. So I was like, I was more so going to support him, even though I was telling him I would get on the mic, but I was really planning to just like front and let him do what he was doing, and I was gonna go support him. So, and I remember like we was at this place, I forgot where it was in the city, but it was packed. It was Bronx was in there, Queens, Brooklyn, everybody was in there. And you could tell this was by the reactions of the crowd and how the DJ was getting down. You kind of knew that if your rhymes there, this crowd will let you know in a heartbeat. Who do you think the Apollo or something? Nah,
Yeah,
like this was raw and it was street.
they were gonna be real with you. Yeah.
So my man, he jumped on. He was doing his thing a little bit and everything, and then they were like, next we got coming to the stage, Precise, So, and I was scared to death, to be honest with you, but I knew I couldn't give that off. So I jumped on, and I remember it was an EPMD beat that was playing. I forgot which beat from EPMD it was, but I started rocking, and I just kind of like this really say, you know what, jump past that fan, just go get them. And I know when I looked down, this was one of those setups where you're up in the air, and the DJ's up there with you, and then down is like everybody's in like this circle pit down here, And when I look down, like I said, when I'm rhyming, I see like some hardcore dudes older than me, like bobbing their head and moving to it. So that was the first time I said, well, you know what? Maybe I do.
I like this.
Have something here that I need to explore a little more. So that's what started that journey.
Okay, now can I ask you a question on that? Because
yes,
one of the things that we love to do, like I said, like is help people live powerful, right, and represent the rock,
right.
So one of the things that I find that people struggle with is uncovering their God-given talent, right? Sometimes it's easy for certain people, like maybe like you have family members that got they got dope vocals, like you sing once, like, oh, I got something here, right? But some people obviously have a tougher time. You found your talent by overcoming your fear, getting on that mic, right? You felt led, like, hey man, like I feel like I need to do this, right? What do you do you have any advice or thoughts for some people out there that are struggling to, find their gifts and their talents that might help them?
Well, I could just say this. I can say like even though I had started pursuing rhyming, and then eventually I got with a group. We were shopping for a deal. The name of the group was Bomb Central. It was me, two other guys, and then my current business partner was our manager back then. And when I had gotten, this was just regular rap group. We weren't kicking anything about God. We didn't know God then. But when I had but right around the time when we were shopping, we had a completed album, and we were shopping it for a deal. We had some talks on the table. That's when I had met Christ. And when I met Christ, I was like, you know what? I never, because at that time I didn't know people rap for God. That was something, or represent anything like that in hip hop. So I didn't think that was a possibility. So I kind of shelved that. And I said, listen, it was just I was just totally blown away by the fact that, hold up, God is real. Like everything my mother been telling me about is really real. Like this, what's going on in this Bible really happened.
How'd that happen for you?
You prepared for an answer that you might not believe.
I'm prepared. I'm always prepared. Shoot, go ahead, man.
Depending on your theology or what type of theology you believe, you might not believe what I'll tell you.
I take you as a pretty honest person, so lay it on me.
All right. I'll give you the shock value answer, then I'll get into it more if you want.
Okay.
The Lord Jesus Christ appeared to me in my house.
Okay.
Didn't see that one coming, right?
You know what? To be totally honest with you, I had a similar experience, so I am not shocked. I'm really not. And I haven't told many people this, but
I haven't told, for years I never told nobody that.
Yeah.
For years, because there were two instances in specific that happened to me, and they were both like kind of divine appointment things. The first But the first instance, I kind of still was trying to not fully submit.
Yep.
But I remember that now. I guess I can't tell that story without telling this real quick, right? So let me just tell you this real quick. I'll try to make it fast. I know we don't have all night. But so like I said, I tell you my history. I was running the street, involved in a lot of criminal activity or whatever, and I was working with these guys, and like it was a bad situation. Like these guys were making big money. We were part of that whole group, and we'd gone to the attention of the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I just knew I was always the type of person where I could be doing X, Y, Z, but I know when things is getting a little hot, and I always knew when it's time to go. Even with my guys, I would just tell them sometimes like, "Yo, y'all doing that tonight? Nope, not me, not doing it." When they listen, no one would get arrested that night. When they didn't listen, I'd go to the store, come back, they'd be like, "Oh, such and such just got arrested." They just backed them up,
Yeah.
So I knew something was going down, and so I told my friend, I said, "Listen, the we did our thing. The game is up. Once the feds is on you, that's it. Just leave it alone, bro. Why are you gonna push? Why are we all gonna sit here and try to push? Press our luck." But again, nobody listened. A lot of people that were involved, with us, and end up toppling with that whole thing. And I was left thinking, okay, what am I gonna do next for money? I remember it was December 1995. I was sitting there. It was a blizzard outside. It was a snowstorm. I'm sitting there laying in the bed thinking, what's my next move? I was, I know people in the street, and this one people would offer me I could do this with these people or this with these people, and you just have that feeling when you're sick and tired of doing all that stuff.
Yep.
And I just didn't want to be involved in any of that anymore. My daughter was a little baby at that time. She was like a little girl, a little baby at that time. I said, you know what? I said, somehow I don't know what I'm gonna do, and she was under my care. So I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but somehow, some way, I'm gonna do the right thing, and me and my daughter's gonna be okay somehow, And when I had said that, I was laying on the bed. I tell you, it was the window. All the windows was closed, blizzard outside, so it was freezing out there. So it's not like the windows was open for what I'm about to tell you. But when I'm laying on the bed, then all of a sudden, the wind blew down on the bed from the ceiling, somehow, and it just like tears just like bust out of my eyes, right? And then I was like, wow, I'm trying to put together what's going on. I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe I was thinking all kind of stuff from ghosts to aliens, to be honest with you.
Could you move when it happened?
When it happened, I could move. I just didn't want to move.
Yeah. Okay.
I just didn't want to move. And then that was out there the first time I heard the voice of God, but I didn't know it was his voice at the time.
You placed a bet and faith right there with your daughter and everything, right? And God came and answered.
Yeah.
The way where he showed a bit of his presence to you, right? And then it happened again, you're telling me.
Yeah, because right after that, I heard for the first time I heard his voice, and he told me, get out of this bed that you're laying in and walk around it. So long story short, I didn't want to listen because I was scared, but then I was too scared not to listen to whoever was talking. Yes. I didn't want to make whoever was talking upset. So I got out the bed. I began to walk around. And when I got to the other side of the bed, I can explain it to you in Christian jargon right now.
No, just give it.
But I don't want to. No. I want to give it to you as I got it at the time. So when I got around the corner of the bed, I felt like my whole body was just like wrapped up in this beautiful, powerful presence that felt like the most amazing thing that I had ever felt. It was like take your breath away, right? And then then it subsided, and then I heard again a voice saying, "Now you know I'm real." And so I knew right then and there, this is God. He's real. Yeah.
Because I can't honestly even I guess I can believe it. You told me I wasn't going to believe it, but I didn't think you were going there because your story parallels so well with what happened to me. I was basically
Wow.
in a very similar situation as you, at a crossroad in my life, mixed up with, on probation at the time, already violated
Right.
probation, or anything like that, stuff going on. I found myself, and I joke with people, and I tell them that, and I really have empathy for people, because when I joke with them, I tell them that, like, literally God scared the crap out of me into believing in him. And that's what happened. I was in my room, and it's kind of embarrassing to even say this, but I was going through almost like a nervous breakdown, I guess you'd call it, right? Where I was at
Okay.
a crossroad, my phone is ringing with the wrong kind of people want me to do these things, right? And I'm
Right.
trying to like not do that, and I see God's moving in my life, but I'm not fully like believing it yet, right? Like He's giving me all
Uh-huh.
the signs, but I'm not. And so the same thing. So now I'm in my room and I'm having like this nervous breakdown where I'm just like throwing stuff, and I'm like in a rage of anger, like calling
Uh-huh.
out like what is going on. And all of a sudden I basically felt this presence come into my room, and I'll never forget this experience. And what was interesting about my experience is I can tell you that there was three. And I had no idea. I actually just talked to somebody not that long ago about this, who put this in perspective for me. But I felt three presences behind me, and I
Wow.
could barely move. Like when I felt it, it was like what you said before. It was like this spiritual weight of like energy or something. And I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
I turned around, I could move enough to turn around, and I sat on my bed. And I went from this energy of rage and frustration to absolute peace. And I was scared in one aspect because I didn't really know what was going on, but it was such a comforting presence, and
Yep.
like a loving presence.
Yep.
I don't know how long I sat there in that presence, but I remember it left, and the presence slowly dissipated after the three entities left, right?
Uh-huh.
And I thought about it, and I was like, the same thing happened to me. At that point, I was like, okay, I have to, I cannot not acknowledge this. Like this is crazy. And so I started to, obviously turn my life around and do and seek the things of God to figure out what in the world is going on. And then when I talked to somebody after that, I don't know why I never thought of this, but I mean, the power of three, right? The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
the three. I never put that together until after. But yeah, it was absolutely crazy. And so, no, I don't think you're
Wow.
crazy. I'd never
Okay,
thought
well,
I'd
it's
be
good
there.
to know that, brother. It's good to know, because I've seen sometimes like when people have like the testimony that I have. I see like sometimes the other people are bashing, like, no, God doesn't do stuff like that anymore, and
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but that's how I got here.
And you know what though, like on that note, what like you're serving and you have a heart to help others who don't know Christ, who aren't spiritual, right? And I feel the same thing. And I look at it and you go, like, I have the empathy there, you have the empathy there, because like you know what it was like to be on the wrong side and on the wrong track doing the wrong things. And then you know what it's like to have God intervene in your life. Like you didn't even deserve it. You didn't, like, it wasn't
Yeah.
like, he did it. So, and other people sometimes they don't have that experience, maybe, right? To that degree. But God is there and he's seeking them and he's calling them. And so I always have that empathy to like do whatever I can do and serve
Yeah.
however I can serve to help them see Christ through me in some way, shape, or form, right? And you're doing it through music. So I don't want to get too sidetracked because we want to talk about, all the gifts that you have, what you're doing here with this new
Yeah.
album. But if you don't mind, if I could just take like 5 minutes, maybe
Now,
to.
come on, man. Let's do it. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to
All right.
chop it up with you.
I want to do, first off, I want to thank you, and you'll understand why I'm going to thank you guys. You and Red and other hip hop artists who, because at this same time, after I just told you this story, I started to make my changes and do my things, right? So then I felt convicted when I was constantly listening to the wrong styles of music that were, and it wasn't just hip hop. It was hardcore music. There was the big hardcore scene in New York. I loved that. I was in the middle of that, probably even more than hip hop. But there was just so much music that was bringing, um, you know, anger and other, it's
Right,
programming you,
right,
including your mind with things that, are not obviously, kingdom minded and stuff. So, and I was looking
right.
for stuff that could replace that. And at first it was difficult to find. It's like, Lord, there's gotta be, like, you were like, I didn't realize I could use my gift to write of hip
Yeah.
hop but I'm looking for this and I'm like, Lord, where is like some legit artists? Cause like I'm listening to these dudes and they're corny. They're just like, and so thank you, because it was the first CD that I got. I can't front. It was that I was like, yo, this is the shit, right? Was
Uh-huh.
Ambassador. The
Oh yeah, yeah. No, Deuce
Psychology
is
in
nice.
layman's terms was the first one that I got that I was like, yo, there is
Yeah.
something out there.
My favorite joint on there was "It Was Love."
It was Love was awesome. Yeah. No,
Yo, oh, that when he broke down creation and all and everything on there, like, yo, I was like,
he's got a good mind. He can definitely put some depth into his poetry. So
yeah, he can, man. He really hit me.
yeah, yeah. And then I got a hold of Resistance is Futile. And I was like, I heard you guys on some other single stuff, and then you dropped that CD at the time. And I was like, yo. And you know what's awesome? Like when you can bump something like that, right? And even your unspiritual friends, they can't front and they're like, yo, this is tight, right? Like I can't even, they might be singing about Jesus, whatever, but that's tight, right? Like, and so that's a tribute to your talent, because some
Well,
people try to force it, but if you don't got it, you can't do it. So you guys,
and yeah, amen. You're right about that, brother. Um, and I just like I'm happy that you said it, because like what would make sometimes I would be kind of not amazed but just kind of intrigued that I'm like, okay, there's certain music, right? I mean, like there's certain like my thing is well, I mean, one of the good things I think about the whole CH scene that I'm saying now is people feel free to express themselves a little more now. That there was a lot of debate about that when I first started doing it. And, if you didn't have a certain template of a song, it wasn't considered ministerial or something like that. So I do see people a little more free to express themselves now. That's really really cool. But I said, but one of the things I always wanted, and I would see the world would be able to do this to us. And people always say, well, that's the world. They can talk about whatever they want to talk. So of course, they're going to be able to do it. I'm like, no, but you didn't. I feel like if you say that to me, you're limiting God. Let me explain what I mean. Because sometimes you ever hear a song and maybe you don't agree with that message wholeheartedly of that song, but you cannot deny this joint thump right here.
yeah, of course.
It knocks and it gives, and you like, man, I just, and you mad at yourself that you feel it so much, right?
Yeah,
And I said, wow, if the world could have that effect, right, then why is it not possible for someone of faith to make something so dope that even if they don't agree with it, they were like, nah, man, I can't front. Like, this joint is hard right here, though.
yeah.
So if you tell me that, then that means that like mission accomplished. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what you guys did, though. You brought it with that passion, with that, you brought it from your soul, and you obviously, you can't deny though that like some people aren't as talented. You have to have
Yeah.
the gift.
And
So a lot of times
I remember somebody's kid's mother got really mad at me one day for that.
yeah,
when she said, because she came to me and she literally came to me. She brought the kid to me, and I tried to put it the best way I could.
yeah,
And
yeah.
she was like, I want you to, and she comes up to me after an event and she's like, oh, I want you to lay hands and pray for my son that God would make him a rapper. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I'm like, well, but we don't really know if that's what God is calling him to be. You would rarely want to just pray that God would bring him in the fullness of whoever he's calling him to be.
Yeah, and God is never going to call you outside of the talents that He gave you. So that's why
Right,
you got to
right.
find them first. The first step is to uncover the talents. Otherwise, you're running around blind.
Yeah. You ain't lying about that, bro.
So yeah, so thank you guys, because at that point in my life, I needed that. I needed that good mental food, because let's, like, music is an expression, right? And there's great music that, there's great neutral music that's just about
It is. No, like I said, I produce I promote and market artists. If you go to my website, you'll hear a great album. It's like kind of like jazz alternative by a group named Sammy J. Beautiful album, beautiful voice, it's beautiful in it. But it's now one of the artists there is a believer, but the artist is the music is just
stuff.
not a gospel album. It's just a dope album. So you just want to sit back and listen to.
As
You
long as
you
it's not, as long as it's not junk food, so to speak, right? Like,
Yeah.
beautiful,
Not and
just
not in the slightest. And like I said, now I remember I heard one brother was like, "Oh, I saw this. Who is this artist you're working with?" I was like, "They just do music. It's beautiful songs. It's beautiful. The artistry is amazing.
Yeah.
That's what." Oh, but but you're supposed to be doing gospel rap. Like I'm like, yeah, but like, and I do like this. Just the limitness of the vision kind of bothered me
That's
when they
why
said that.
that's why I get, like, with the beast life, going back to the beginning, why I was a little frustrated with, like, people who always want to judge and be religious, because that gentleman is using his God-given talent to make music that's beautiful, and he's serving other people, and what's
Yeah.
wrong with that?
and
Like, he's doing
and
fine.
and like I was saying this in another interview. I was like, wow, I'm not really quick to say like okay, the scripture shows us a certain lifestyle that we know we are all, if we're called by faith, if we're called by His name, then there's a certain lifestyle that's ascribed to us. Okay, I get that. You know what I mean? We're not always perfect with that. You know what I mean? Like in kudos if you're perfect every day you wake up. That's dope. But I have to admit there's a lifestyle that's ascribed to all of us. All right, boom, I got that. Now, but there's those that will watch everyone and then sit back in a place of judgment, and they'll ask me questions that I'm like, I can't answer that one, nor would I ever try to, because you go beyond. Some people go beyond what the lifestyle that we're all ascribed to live, and now try to assume to sit in a position where you can tell somebody what they're destined to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real heavy seat to be sitting in, man. I don't know. I know we're all supposed to live for Jesus. I know we're all supposed to be ready to give an answer for this hope that's inside of us. I know we're all supposed to just, if God gives us an opportunity to shine a light to someone that might need to see it, we're supposed to take that. But the specific reason that you came from your mother's birth canal, and that thing that God intended you to be doing upon His return, I have no way of knowing.
I ain't putting that on my shoulder. No.
I'm not, and I'm amazed at the people that try to do that to other people.
Yeah. And it's hard enough to
Because
figure out.
I can't say like what makes a gospel rapper. Like what, like people say, oh, this person says he's Christian, but he's not a Christian rapper. I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I know the lifestyle God calls him to live. I don't know if he was supposed to make gospel rap. I don't know. I know he's not supposed to be rhyming about busting people melons open and splattering their brains on the wall.
Exactly. There's some common sense stuff, right? But let's talk about you, because I believe that you are on, obviously, the calling that God has for you. I believe you've used your gifts and your talents that God has given you, and you've given back and helped other people, myself included, obviously. And so you're not done. Precise
Now,
is
yeah,
not.
I don't think I thought so. I thought so.
Okay.
Not that I thought so. I didn't think that God was done with me per se, but
With
it was a time that I
music,
thought that. Yeah, but but like, well, all together, like I can have my highs and my lows. So I had my days where I'm like, oh, what was me? Maybe I'm not gonna make it or whatever. But musically, if we're talking musically, I really, really, if I believe you're a true artist, then even if there's no album coming out, if there's no mixtape coming out, if you don't have a single you're doing for the radio, you're just gonna make music because it's something that's inside of you.
Okay.
It's a gift. It's a gift, and you just don't feel complete without it in your life in some kind of way.
Okay.
If you're truly an artist. So I've always written, even in my valley times and in my wilderness times. You might have not have liked to heard the stuff that came out at those times, but it's just like the Psalms with David. Every psalm that David writ was not when he was on a high. If you listen to some of those, you can see the brother was clearly going through some stuff.
It's part of the process and the journey.
And what I love about him and I love about God is he allowed that stuff to be in the Bible for me to see it. So I could take a look at David's life and see him at the mountaintop experience, him in the valley, him going through depression, him overcoming and him winning mighty wars for God. So I like that honest look. So that's why people say, well, I heard this music, are you floating out at Precise? I said, well, look at the time signature on it, bro. Yeah, like if you it's like, but on your SoundCloud, there's music that's for God. Because God forbid when something happens to me, you say, and I say I got grandchildren's around, I got grandkids around, and I'm not around no more. And I want them to be able to take an honest look at grandpa's life, the highs, the lows, and everything in between, and to see where I ended up, so they can get an honest look. That's the problem. A lot of the time is we don't give the people an honest look at our walk. So therefore, they see us going through some stuff. I mean, we know when they're going through some stuff, and since we put this cologne of religiosity over us, and we covered ourselves that way, they feel that no one couldn't relate to what they're going through because nobody talk about what they're going through. And then that's how we lose a lot of new brothers, new sisters in the faith.
And I don't think that, exactly like you're saying, I don't think that you can, if you never got any dirt, like if you never got a little bit dirty at all, like how do you even know what the opposite side is? I think that the only person who didn't get dirty at all was Christ. Everybody got to go through a little bit of dirtiness because you got to experience, and then
or else you would have been able to get on the cross for us.
There you go.
Well, you better stop right now and think about what we're doing. You gotta stop right now and think about what we're losing.
The news is dictated, the views they kick tainted. They use fear and terror to confuse. It's sick, ain't it? I choose to refuse every lie and frame of mind that don't align with the divine mind for mankind. What am I saying? Is man blind and need a sight? Just look around, the days are dark, we need a light. And only light that's strong enough to pierce night is Elohim, the son of God. We need Christ. Or do you trust them old men in DC to get you through the panic and pandemic? Couldn't be me. Bigger than color or creed or your bracket attacks, and you can fight it with your stats or stacking your facts. There's evil things that will laugh at your facts, hit you with rapid attacks. You need power to fight back. A lot going on behind the scenes. There's plots and the schemes, and nothing is at all what it seems.
Now, you got this new album coming out. Actually, it already came out, just dropped recently, right? The fourth quarter. Now, I love football.
Fourth quarter.
I love football, right? And I'm assuming that it's got something to do with football, maybe. But let me give you my take, and then you tell me what you meant for it. But I'm looking at the fourth quarter going, wow, like the fourth quarter is the quarter in football where you got to turn it up, right? Like it's the last quarter. So like you got to bring the fire in the fourth quarter, right? Yep. So
you're right on target, my man.
So Bob, tell us about the album. Tell us about, what it means to you. Talk about some of the songs on there and, give some of these listeners like an idea of what the project is like and stuff.
All right. So, like I said earlier, I run a production and a management label with my brother Jamal called J&R Entertainment. Okay. So you can find us on the internet at www.jnrentertainmentllc.net. Really, I was kind of like more behind the scenes, kind of working with some of the artists, like I was telling you earlier. And now there's a friend of mine. His name is Domingo. He's a legendary hip hop producer. Yeah. I don't know if you don't know. He has he runs a website called thatshiphop.com. Yeah. And he also is partnered up with mediafamous.com.
Okay.
I'll say that again. I couldn't hear you.
He's worked with a lot of artists that people will probably know too.
This guy has produced for everybody from KRS-One to Cool G Rap to Slick Rick to Big Daddy Kane to the Wu. He's produced hits for the Wu-Tang Clan. He's produced for Fat Joe, Big Pun, Madonna, Amy Winehouse, and there's a whole bunch of people that I just don't have the time to get into.
He's got a resume.
Yeah, to say the least, you know.
Yep.
But he's also a very cool dude, man. And even he's always made a habit of when he puts like a compilation album out. For some reason, he would just like try to find a believer and throw them, give him a chance to do a song right on there with all these other hip hop guys and let the believer be heard. I remember the Boogie. Do you remember the Boogie Monsters?
No.
There was a Christian group called the Boogie Monsters. They were I remember they were the first. They were one when I started getting familiar and started meeting guys different places. They were I heard a track from them one time. I don't even know how I came across it, and I was like, "Ooh, this beat is banging, and these guys are flowing on here."
Nice.
And I told Red about them. I said, "Yeah, I want to meet these guys, right?" And come to find out, that was the Boogie Monsters, and that track was produced by Domingo.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Okay.
And he had put them on a compilation before. And he also had myself on a compilation album he has out. He had out called Most Underrated. And he let me get on there and rep, you know, and didn't give me no barriers. He said, nah, go for broke. I'm gonna give you the track, go for broke.
What was that?
So he's really, really, really a cool guy, man. And
what track was that?
The track, you remember the track I did called What's That?
Yeah. What's that? Yeah.
Yeah, that was on. He also put that song on his album called The Most Underrated.
Okay.
So I was on there with Cool G, Kane, Joel Ortiz, all these guys, right? So one day we were talking because also he's been pivotal in helping me get everything set up when it comes to distribution for my company now. So we were talking business on an unrelated issue. And then out of nowhere, he comes out and he tells me, he's like, Precise, you know, when we going to get another album out of you, brother, you know? And it had hit me when he said it because I kind of felt like that nudging inside of me to do that.
Yeah.
But I was fighting it off. I was shrugging it off. I was like, nah, you know, I did what I did. Didn't let what I did will stand the test of time, and that's it. I was looking for whatever God got me to venture off into next, you know.
Yep.
And but when he said it, I couldn't deny it hit. So, but I was still trying to get out of it. So, in my attempt to get out of it, I tell him, I'm like, and I know because this guy is super busy. He's all, you know, doing all this stuff with all these people. So I said, listen, Domingo, we're gonna get another project out of Precise when Domingo himself agrees to produce every track on there. He's going to be the executive producer of the album. Thinking that he's going to say, well, you know, I don't got time to do that, you know, like, and he was quiet on the phone for a second. Then he was like, okay, bet, let's do it. And I'm like, no, you can't get one of your little other underling producers. You yourself have to be. And he was like, okay, we'll do it. He says, you do the rhymes, I'll do the beats. You promote and market on your end. I'll promote and market on my end. And we'll do it as a joint venture between Media Famous and JR Entertainment. And we'll split the proceeds 50-50. Nice. And then when he said it like that, it was just, I knew that, okay, God is trying to tell me something. So, and from that moment on, last summer is when we embarked on the journey of starting to put this album together.
Okay. So tell us about it. So you completed it, you dropped it. What are some of your-
I'm almost tomorrow, make it a week. We just came back from Atlanta. We did the release party for the fourth quarter by Precise Bob Young. And we had an amazing time out there, man. That's a whole nother interview in itself of how things went down out there. It was a really, really blessing. And I think we have not yet begun to see the reverberations, the effect of the reverberations that are going to come from this project. And like I said, it's because I me, I really feel like it's kind of a sign of the times of. I think with this, what people don't realize is what I'm more excited about than even the album is what I think it symbolizes. I think this album is a flare gun lit, and those who is meant to see it and hear it, they'll just know, like there'll be a similar grumbling in their bellies as well. That I'm feeling, that Red's feeling, that my camp is feeling, and that I'm getting calls every day, and people are really jumping on board, and I'm thankful they're loving the rhymes, they're loving the beats and everything, and that's dope. But I think it bigger than even that is the significance of what they're feeling inside of them from this. Mm-hmm. I believe it's a call. And I believe those who have an ear, will answer. I'm really looking forward to banding together with like-minded brothers and sisters. I call it the fourth quarter for a reason, not just trying to be catchy. Is because I believe that's where we are. Yeah. I believe that's where we're at. I believe the world is set, and if the world, we can throw our heads inside of the dirt like the ostrich if we want to. Yep. But there's things that are going on in this world that are undeniable. Yep. There are movements that are being made. There are political movements. There's socio-political movements. There are economic movements. There's about to be movements even within the regimes and the power structure of the earth itself that are undeniable. Like me and Red have been speaking about this for the last 25 years. And it's really becoming obvious that these guys are gearing up for that. They're doing what they're supposed to do in this time. They're doing what the Bible said they would do in this time. And I think I believe it's time for the people of God, not the religious people, no, my church is going to do this. No, I think they're within and without the church, the building of the church, yes. Inside and outside of that, because I gotta put my cards on the table again. I just have no faith in your building or your bricks and your stones and your windows. Your church means nothing to me. I believe the more precious thing of that building is the person I'm looking at right now, because Jesus Christ lives inside of that person. Sure. And that person is a part of the church that's not built with human hands. And I'm trying to get together with people like that to bring about, not by us all following one person's lead, not by all, no, but I think together, by every man and woman playing their part, we can show an amazing united front in these last times, and prepare the way for our Lord's coming back the way we're supposed to, and be doing what we're supposed to be doing upon his return.
Yeah, well said. I mean, hey, look, like obviously the church, the body of Christ makes up, the people make that up, right? It's not the building, the brick and mortar is just the house that holds, the body of Christ. But
so many people lose focus of that.
People, I know. But and lose comment on what you said, because I'm feeling the same exact thing as you. And I don't want to use the word revival is probably not the right word. There's a spiritual movement going on right now, because you're right. There's a lot of stuff that's happening that's prophesied to happen. It's going to happen.
Right.
And I feel like a spiritual, nudge inside of me. And I've been feeling this, this movement and this thing that God is trying to accomplish. Like you're talking about the flare, bringing awareness, just allowing people to realize that, that there's a God out there that loves them and that wants to know them better, and that's calling them. And like, I just think, and I'm feeling like right now is it's one of those movements where God's going to collect a lot of family members,
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like I was telling people, like, the movies where you see like somebody blows, and partly I'm not comparing the people of God to like dogs and not like, but you feel the analogy what I'm saying. Like you ever see the movies like when somebody blows a dog whistle?
Yep.
And nobody hears it, but all the dogs in the neighborhood start going crazy. You know. Yeah. I believe like there's something that, and I'll just say the remnant. The remnant. There's a remnant of people that are hearing there's something that they're called to do in this end time. But before they can do that, God wants to rally them. And I believe, for lack of a term, like that dog whistle, there's a whistle, there's an alarm going out. And I can't even explain it fully. Red can't explain it fully, but like you were saying too, you feel it too. I believe that like-minded brothers and sisters, we feel it. Like there's a call to arms. It's a call to, like, you know what? This is what y'all were made for.
Yeah.
This time right here, right now, you know, like you might have thought it was 10 years ago. You might have thought it, no, but this right now is what I got y'all guys for.
Yeah, it's the fourth quarter. Get off the bench and get on the field. It's
right.
Play.
And I don't believe it's all about the old. I think it's the young man, the old man, the younger sister, the old. I think we're all, thank you, Jesus. I think we're all gonna rally together. The wisdom of the older, the strength of the younger. I think it's a combination of all these things coming about in the music, in the arts, and through every facet of life.
Absolutely.
The people of God are going to link together and for lack of a better term, make their last hurrah.
Yeah, the Spirit of God doesn't discriminate age, color, nothing. We're one blood. Doesn't matter if you're young. David was young, right? It don't make a difference if you're
one of the most dope things. Like if I could just jump in, interject for just 1 second. Like when we were in Atlanta, just to piggyback off of what we just said, like because like they, you know, like when we were all younger, everyone thought they had the cookie cutter perfect way to do everything. But one of the best things that happened when I was down there with two young people. This, you know, young guy, his style is totally different than mine. He rep for God, just totally different music style. You know, he got that, you know, like that sound they got now.
Yeah.
And me and his brother right after my release, we pulled to the side. We had a dope vibe with each other. We trade emails. I sent him some of my songs. He sent me some of his. And I listened to his, and he listened to mine. We chopped it up like back and forth on an email for the last like 2 days now. But I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like the older man, the younger man sitting together, building together. Like, you know what I'm saying? This that means so much to me. You don't understand it, you know. And if we could get that
veteran, he's the rookie on the team, right? The veteran's gotta be able to take the rookie under his wing and be like, hey, we're on the same team, right? We're fighting for the team.
Right. So that's a beautiful thing to see, and I hope to see that more and more.
Absolutely. It sounds like something that you might be doing with what you have going on with the company and stuff, right? And I'm sure
that's one of the goals. That definitely is one of the goals.
I mean, not for nothing. I feel like there's so much in you and there's so much in me that I could sit here and talk to you for another hour.
I can feel that now, bro.
I want to get out. You know, as we close here, like what is it that you guys have going on? What does your camp have going on? So you got your album. And just so you understand, we're gonna put the information of how they can get it and stuff when we do the video. So, but what do you guys have coming up? Like, what do you want to leave with as far as you know, where you are with business? How can people find you? Are you helping some younger artists? Like, what do you guys got going on?
So right now, what's going on is like my whole camp, everyone's, because we like I said, we got each other backs where we're trying to focus on what's at the front right now.
Okay.
So what happens to be at the front right now is the fourth quarter by yours truly. So it's right now we just released the fourth quarter project with myself, Precise Bob Young, produced by Domingo for MediaFamous.com. You can get that everywhere. It's anywhere music is digitally downloaded or streamed, you can get it there. Me being an advocate for the independent artist and the independent label, I said, please download it if you can. But if you can't, because I say that because the artist sees more financially that way. But if you can't, and you have to
fruit into the kingdom when you download it, just
right. So that would be helpful. But even if you can't, you can still, it's still available for stream everywhere. You can check us out at JNR Entertainment LLC.net. Like I said, we got the fourth quarters now. You have the reunion project with myself and Corey Red coming up next. That's called The Prologue.
Nice.
We got a young brother by the name of D Anthem, and it can't be on the lookout for him. My younger brother, he's a singer. His name is Justin Jonathan. Be on the lookout for him. But if you can find us also on Facebook.com/Corey Red and Precise.
Yep.
And I'm constantly on there, constantly updating where we're going to be, what's going on with us, so you guys can stay plugged in. If you go now in the JNR Entertainment LLC.net, if you go there right now, if you go into the shop, we got three fire tracks for you on there. You can download them totally free of charge. That just our way of saying thank you for your support. The only thing we ask, if you just help us spread the word, the fourth quarter's out there, let people know. And we thank y'all, man, for real. And I thank you, brother. This has been a dope night.
Absolutely. And we will definitely, obviously support as well by putting on the information, and we'll post it on Beast Life too.
I appreciate it.
Action and stuff. Yeah. I like the vibe. I'm definitely down for, supporting what you guys are doing. You've literally helped me and planted a good season to me since the time I was probably in my early 20s. So we're talking almost 20 years. So
yes, we are. Yep.
So thank you.
And please, you, brother, you specifically, man. I just believe in I just believe like I said, aside from thanks for the interview and everything, but when you get a chance, you got my number, man. I just would like to build with you specifically more too.
Absolutely, no doubt. And it's been a pleasure, obviously sitting where I am, being able to interview somebody who made, music that impacted and affected me. I got the pleasure to do it with KJ, and I'm looking forward to, kind of building this network, because I believe music is so powerful. People are like, why you can't? Well, I love music because the music is powerful. And I'm like you, doesn't have to just be hip hop. I love so many different styles of music. And I just want to be able to connect. And I think because music, like you said, you kind of see this new movement of people coming together. Well, what brings people together better than music, right? It doesn't matter. Music brings people together faster and quicker and they can bond almost like no other thing. So outside of Christ and God, right? But music is so powerful. So that's why I love to do it. Thank you again for coming on, and thank you guys for everything that you do to plant seeds into the kingdom. The music that you make definitely reaches people. It reached me, and I appreciate it. And I know there's obviously, tons of others out there that do so. And that album is dope. So real quick on right when we were signing off here, what's your favorite song?
Man, that's a hard one to say.
I know it's impossible. That was a dumb question because you can't.
No, not really. Because it's not really. It's not that. It's that. I'll say this because if sometimes I'm in more of a freestyle mode, right?
Okay.
So if I had a free, if this was more like, cause sometimes I'm in that type. I'm just in bar mode. I'm just dropping bars. So if I was in bar mode, then that means most of the project was a bar mode album. Then I could say, okay, when it comes to just spitting bars, then this is my favorite right here. But it's even though I like it more, but it's my favorite. But this one, I kind of went more conceptual with a lot of the songs.
Okay.
And because we went conceptual, is like every song is kind of tackling a different pipeline.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to compare them. But like I said, what's resonating with me right now, we're about to shoot the video for, is the Respect Your Hourglass song. So be on the lookout for that. The video is being shot probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And we got a whole bunch of guest appearances in it. It's gonna, I think it's gonna be a dope situation.
Awesome. I'm sure it will be. Okay. I'm just gonna kill them.
Well, you better stop right now and think about what we're doing. You gotta stop right now and think about what we're losing.
The news is dictated, the views they kick tainted. They use fear and terror to confuse. It's sick, ain't it? I choose to refuse every lie and frame of mind that don't align with the divine mind for mankind.